Khrushchev touched off a debate with his secret speech in 1956. Before Khrushchev, Stalin was depicted as a glorious war hero and leader of the Soviet Union to victory in World War II. And he did so by ruthlessly repressing and crushing any and all opposition internally, including such glorious achievements as the Gulag system. But he saw anybody who was against him as a defeatist, which meant that his vision of the opposition was, oh, let's lose World War II so I can take Stalin out and take power myself, which is exactly what the Communist Party did in World War I. They were defeatists. They wanted to end World War I so that they could take over power themselves. And they took advantage of Kerensky not being a defeatist, even though Russia had clearly lost in that war to German forces. Khrushchev, for his part, in 1939, was a loyal follower of Stalin, praising him and just talking about his glories slavishly on the eve of World War II. He said, "Comrade Stalin is backed by a people of 183 million strong, that every idea advanced by Comrade Stalin is endorsed by the great and mighty multinational Soviet people." That was a Khrushchev quote. When Khrushchev made that speech, he knew he was up against conservative opponents like Molotov, who were still pro-Stalin and wanted to take down Stalin as a all-powerful, all-knowing leader in order to oppose Molotov. Khrushchev pointed out that Marx and Lenin were against cults of personality such as Stalin built. Instead of dictating to his colleagues, Khrushchev claimed that Lenin never imposed by force his views upon his co-workers. He tried to convince, he patiently explained his opinions to others. Khrushchev even suggested that Lenin would have removed Stalin because he understood that Stalin was psychopathic, but he died early. Stalin came up with the concept of the enemy of the people, which let him prosecute anybody for no reason. He used extreme methods and mass repression at a time when the revolution was already victorious, when the exploiting classes were already liquidated, when our party was politically consolidated. He chose the path of repression and physical annihilation. That's Khrushchev speaking again. Now, consider that Hitler announced that he was going to destroy communism back in 1933, and also Stalin made it look like he was totally in charge in retrospect through effective propaganda like movies and paintings of him leading the troops from a desk and smoking a pipe in peace while calmly leading the troops and the Soviet Union to glorious victory. Stalin also did a purge of the best party cadres just before World War II, and that include like technologists, like, artillery people who were designing, artillery. So this crippled the Soviet war machine on the eve of World War II. And then finally, he left a centralized bureaucratic economy, which was clearly not in the best interests of his own people, nor the geostrategic economic competition with the West over time after World War II. By repressing the Eastern European rebellions with force, he gave the lie to the concept that the workers had invited the Communist Party to take over in those countries. He made it clear that communism was a force play, not an economic benefit play. Stalin had complete control over the political, industrial, and military aspects of the Soviet war effort. He personally made every wartime decision of any importance. This was all the way that Western diplomats saw him. He was a person with great mastery of detail. And here's a quote from Severin Bialer, Severyn Bialer, a U.S. scholar, and he states that Stalin's crucial contribution to victory derived from his ability to organize and administer the mobilization of manpower and material resources. Stalin regarded his role as that of an arbiter and ultimate judge of his general strategic plans and operational designs. His major asset as a military leader was the ability to select talented commanders and to permit them to plan operations while reserving for himself the ultimate power of decision. Stalin had an ability to mobilize Soviet manpower and economic resources over a sustained period. his ability to assure the political stability of his armed forces and the population at large despite disastrous initial defeats, and his ability to recognize and reward superior military talent at all levels under his command. He was an administrator better suited to directing the gigantic military and civilian bureaucracy than to initiating and formulating military plans. Clearly, he was a despot as well, ordering and signing scores of thousands of death sentences impersonally, and ruled through falsification, not just terror. So these are notes from pages 262 to 268 of Russia and the USSR in the 20th Century, 4th edition, by David Mackenzie and Michael W. Curran.